A plan to stop releasing steelhead trout in some tributaries of the Siuslaw River has many residents concerned. Good evening, I'm Jessica Debus. KEZI 9 News reporter Stacy Kafka went to Deadwood near Mapleton today to learn more about how an end to this hatchery program could affect the area. She joins us live in the studio with our top story at 5. Stacy?
Jessica, the Oregon Department of Fisheries and Wildlife announced they would be reducing the number of steelhead trout they released in Lake Creek from 15,000 to 0. The announcement is leaving community members fearful that this could hurt the fishing industry in the area. Members of the small Deadwood community didn't realize a new coastal plan would affect the future of fishing in their area.
The ODFW, and they did have meetings on it. Unfortunately, folks in the area didn't know that and they didn't attend the meetings.
So now they're left discussing what will happen when steelhead trout are not released into the creek, bringing an end to a hatchery program these residents have relied on.
So it'll go from 15,000 to 0. And
members of the community formed a group called Friends of Lake Creek Steelhead to figure out what should be done.
But the credit goes to the core group. That's the Friends of Lake Creek Steelhead, which were some pretty brave people that came out in the rainstorm to have a meeting.
What they came up with, 3 areas of concern. The first, science and sustainability of the fishery, along with economic impacts to the area.
This caused a little concern here because there are more businesses on Lake Creek from Triangle Lake, which has a store. Deadwood has a store.
Also increasing access to make the fishery a more welcoming place for fishermen coming from afar to the creek.
Idea of access came up, and many people are volunteering different parcels of their land, you know, to put in boat ramps. And
the hatchery program has only been around for 5 years.
So at that time they moved it to Green Creek, which is just a mile below Deadwood, and the STEP program moved the operation there and set up the weirs on Green Creek and started collecting fish. And
before that, native fish filled the creek. But once the hatchery program was put in place,
cookie cutter fish, you know, the same size, but the run of fish had increased. So
now they're left figuring out
how many fish should there be, you know, what would be considered to be a healthy population of steelhead.
Other members of the community don't think hatchery fish should be in the creek and prefer to be filled with native species. To hear input from the community, Friends of Lake Creek Steelhead planned a meeting with the ODFW. To spread the word, group members posted signs where those interested would be able to see them, along the banks of the creek. The meeting started just an hour ago. Organizers said they expected a large crowd at the meeting and would be surprised if less than 200 people showed up. During the meeting, community members will be discussing the science behind the fishery plan with members of the Oregon Department of Fisheries and Wildlife. Live in the studio, Stacy Kafka, KEZI 9 News.